I reach Bill Oman, who hold the Mitchell Hedge, because those cults are fascinating for me for my entire life. And I reach him. He said, let's have a Zoom meeting. Like I talked to him for about 30 minutes. And when he opened Zoom and you see the skull under the blanket. And when he removed that thing, it's huge. This is a vibrating device that it's so old, it's that skull is with us for how long? Thousand and thousand of years. And they're still here with us. And that Mitchell Edge, it's really connect with the 13 Master. The way you can use them, the way they are here to help us to be a very good guide when you want to just expand yourself in different way. They will be there to guide you. And basically, they're very, I call them a turbo brain. They can uplift your brain in such a way that a mirror, if you're ready to make a step, they can be there for you, you see? And I have such a dream one night with Mitchell Edge when he came to me and said, "Are you ready to go?" He bring me in different parts of my brain that I didn't know anything about. It looked like the skull clear up that part. Like the entire brain become a crystal clear receiver. This is why I was going to do a week class, 20 minutes every day about chakra. And I realized when you really understand that field, that intelligent, and you allow yourself to play with that, and with the skull or without the skull, all the nervous system, the chakra, just open normal. You don't have too much to do. And when you move action, you do something you like, everything is online, basically. Everything in a second. Every time I start to realize when I put what is the name of your dog or whatever you like in life, the second they said that, all the chakra just changed in a second. And I was like, it doesn't take too much work to make no chakra open. You see? But like Raven said, if you understand that field, that you live in a spirit that feels intelligent, if you play with it, it will play with you. It will support you in a way that you can't imagine it, you see, if you flow with it. I'm going to say something. For the last two days, I can see, because we talk about that field of intelligence, I see a pulsation in the reality. Like everything become like not as solid as it used to. And someone said we have a big shift in November 5th, and I think the solstice is coming in December. That will be another shift. Like I will invite just to ask the sculpt if you are interested to have some guidance from him and see what way it's going to help you to realize something that you need to realize in those moments. But they have a pulse right now. We're changing frequency. Many people might see it. Many people say maybe sense it for different reasons. But it's a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing.
Greetings and good day. This is The Channeled Truth. I'm your host, Thomas Leichardt, and I'm a channeler myself, and I love exploring the works of Seth and Jane Roberts, Abraham-Hicks, and Bashar. And with me today, I have our favorite guest once again. He has done more episodes than anybody else so far. So let's bring Patrick onto our digital stage. Patrick, thank you again for coming back for yet another episode.
Hey, thanks, Tom, to having me and to respond to my call, basically, because I'm the one to send you out to see if we can talk about that experience that I have last basically 2 weeks. And thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on. So our topic today is going to be the crystal skulls, right? So you've probably heard of the 13 crystal skulls, and the most famous of them, the Mitchell Hedges skull. And Patrick has been connecting with that skull specifically. And of course, we did that transmission with Raven talking about the 13 hybrid crystal skulls, the next generation. So yeah, Patrick, tell us about your fantastic experience. Like, what's going on with you and these skulls?
Yeah, what happened, I've been to a surgery 2 weeks ago, and for the surgery, they have to put you asleep. They ask you two choice, put the gas or you put epidural. epidural, and I said, okay, I will use the one with the spine because I want to keep my mind very clear, and I'm very sensitive to the gas. Like they said, okay, they give you two choice, it's not a big thing, and I prefer to have medicine to have that surgery than nothing.
Of course, yeah.
Medicine is not always bad.
Acute conditions call for acute measures, right?
Exactly, and like when they did that, I just fall asleep, bang, fall asleep, and I wake up, and when I open my eyes, I told the nurse, I said, okay, what's the next step? She said, it's gone. We're done. The doctor did the surgery, was for hernia, linguinal hernia. And I said, it's already done. I didn't know. And after that, they just check your leg if it's coming to defrozen, you don't feel the drug anymore with
Hmm.
ice.
Hmm.
And they touch you the minute you can feel the ice. They wait. Okay, you go stand up and you go home. That's pretty quick like that.
That is fast.
And, but they give you some Tylenol and stuff like that, but you're kind of on some medicine like to remove the pain. And in fact, my wife drive me back home. And when I start to realize something, I said, it's interesting. I know they give me some medicine, but I don't feel any connection with my surgery, with the pain, with anything else. And I said, okay, if I went to the bed and the next day I wake up, have water and sit down. And usually I'm just following the state of meditation in the morning just to connect with myself and breathe, and nothing there. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't really find the electrical in my spine anymore. And I said, oh, I know they froze me with that stuff to do the surgery, but I never expect that cutting of the circuit like that. And I wasn't able to breathe. Just to said I will breathe more air in to just purify and really get the air in and out, but I wasn't able to breathe because the surgery was in the bottom, you see? Like I have a little motion of breathing. And I said, oh, this is so fascinating that I'm so cut out of the sensitivity I have, the connection I have. And with nature, I have a few plants inside the house, and I wasn't able to connect. That was me and the plant. That's it. That's all. Nothing more, no communication, no language, no frequency. And the only thing I was like, I said, wow, that's huge. I said, imagine all the people on medication and whatever they have, or they have so much pain, they're totally not connecting with anything. This is huge. I never realized that. And while I'm doing this, I'm just like, okay, the only thing pop up after maybe the first day is the crystal skull in my mind. That's the only thing I was able to see and really deep in my inner vision. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Like in this moment of not connecting with my body and don't feel anything, I start to exchange with him. He was there like a friend, like a guide. Like he was creating some frequency in my psyche, just balance those things, just for me to be okay in the process and help me to remember that I have that experience inside of myself. It's not outside of myself, but it was good to remember I'm still in my spirit. I'm still experiencing myself. I'm still there. And the process is very important. And through that, I reached Bill Oman, who hold the Mitchell Hedge, because those cults are fascinating for me for my entire life. And I reached him. He said, let's have a Zoom meeting. Like I talked to him for about 30 minutes. And when he opened Zoom and you see the skull under the a blanket. And when he removed that thing, it's huge. This is a vibrating device that it's so old, it's that skull is with us for how long? Thousand and thousand of years. And they're still here with us. And that Mitchell Edge, it's really connect with the 13 Master. If you go around and listen many channel, many information, it is true. I do believe it's true. Do you know anything about it a little bit?
Yeah, they say that, at least the story I've heard is that the Mitchell Hedge is like the zero skull copy of the master skull, right? So there's a master skull still hidden somewhere, who knows, maybe under the water in the ocean, Atlantic, right? But then the Mitchell Hedge would be like the first copy of the master, right? So that's kind of like the master in action, so to speak. And that's the one that would imprint the other skulls, right? So I believe it's one of the 13, but it's actually considered that first master imprint. That's the one they would take to different regions and then create that connection when the new skull was made with the Mitchell Hedge skull, right? So, and then the Mitchell Hedge would just be a constant link back to the master skull, which would never go anywhere, right? They would just be, they wouldn't travel with that one. They would travel with the Mitchell Hedge. So it's interesting, right? And of all the skulls, I mean, I know you've said I have a connection with Max, and I've played with that a little bit too. Or not you, but I think it was Raven that said it. But the Mitchell Hedge is the one that I tend to get drawn to as well. And so I have to actually do a little show and tell, right? I was so impressed with the skull you showed that I have to, I got one of these as well. It's, it's acrylic. It's not a real one, but I also got a crystal one, right? So definitely been playing
Can
with
you go a
this
little bit
guy.
higher? We
Oh,
don't
okay.
see it. Okay, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
So no, this one also, this one's been fun to play with. But yeah, they're fantastic permission slips. And, I've never really been so much into the skulls, but then they've kind of come in, they've been coming in as like, it's one of the tools. I work with the crystal bowls a lot, and it's another crystal tool. And it's just fun. It's a joy, and it helps pop things open.
Yeah, it is so true, yeah. And I understand that it's not everybody who's drawn to crystal skull stuff like that, or just like nothing to do with that, but some are really, really intriguing about that and really feel the connection. And I think that video is more for those people. Uh, doesn't mean it's better or not. It's just like a personal call, you see.
Hmm.
And yeah, I remember the Raven video. I have to watch the video because I don't remember when I channel. She bring his own information about that I personally don't have right now. It's me speaking to me. You see, with you, it's not a channeling. It's my own human experience. But it's looked like I think we don't really understand what they are. It's like the way you can use them, the way they are here to help us to be a very good guide when you want to just expand yourself in different way. They will be there to guide you, and basically they're very. I call them a turbo brain. They can uplift your brain in such a way that a mirror, if you're ready to make a step, they can be there for you. You see. And I have such a dream one night with Mitchell Edge when he came to me and said, "Are you ready to go?" He bring me in different parts of my brain that I didn't know anything about. What we know about the brain, we don't know too much. But he bring me in a zone, like I call the shadow side, really to see how that thing react with people, with situation in your life, with higher frequency when they come. Sometimes they call the reptilian brain in survival mode. How to understand that concept and how it looked like the skull clear up that part. Like the entire brain become a crystal clear receiver. Not too much in a chaotic way, but in very, very balanced way. Like that's the way I see them. If they're showing up to you, you can send a call, they might respond to you. But it looked like a group of people on the planet really, really connecting with those skulls from Atlantis. I'm sure, 100% sure it's from that time that we have an agreement with them. And they're coming back to guide and help the best they can. But you have to do the work, you see? They're going to just help you to see that you can raise up a little bit with them.
Very much, I feel like they're reflective mirrors, right? And again, like you said, we have to do the work, and we have to do the integrating, right? The shadow side, or the survival mechanism, the reptilian brain, all that stuff, along with the higher mind, and like letting it all blend together. For me, the skulls it's like another tool, right? It's like it's not going to do it for you, but when you look in the mirror and you have clarity and you see a reflection of yourself, parts that you might enjoy and love, and then other parts of the personality or the brain or the mind that you might be kind of shunning to the side, right? So they help us to see the clarity of the whole picture, right? But still, the work is for us to integrate, whatever the skull reveals, whatever the mirror shows us, it's for us to integrate that together into our being. So super exciting. I love hearing your stories. And perhaps you can tell us maybe how you got started with the skulls. Is there like a beginning thread that has led you to this point?
I have to, but the fact that I was looking to reach that Mitchell edge, it was so intense in the dream after the surgery, and it was just there. And I said, I have to do something. You know, I know it was a Zoom meeting, but it was like it was in front of me. It was with me in the room, and the connection. It was like the way you connect with them, the way you start to understand who they are, you start to give up that own frequency yourself, you see? And it's a very balanced energy. It's a very lovely, beautiful, very powerful. You can feel it when that connection is there. This is what I told Bill. I said, Bill, I have those calls in my mind for my entire life. I was young, a little boy, and those calls was coming to me in my mind. But you're a kid. You're just like, oh, okay, it's called, and you do stuff like that. I will say pretty much every years or two, to different age, they was coming up. And sometimes I realized I was in situation I didn't know what to do. I was challenging myself, didn't know, no answer. Nobody was able to help me. And they kind of pop out and kind of give me a frequency that I was able to understand what I need at that moment. And they went off, it was on and off all the time like that. Until, look, after the surgery, I don't feel a connection. I'm like, okay, where I'm going with that, it's kind of very weird to feel the disconnection. And I didn't know at that point that the electric in the spine, how important it is. I didn't know that. Now I know, because when it came back, I start to feel it again. Now I'm okay, but I really feel that electric that I didn't feel before like that, you see?
Yeah, no, that electric current along the spine I feel like there's different levels of it and levels we're not even aware of, like from a scientific standpoint. But of course, the yogic traditions and different traditions, we, obviously know about that, and different phases or different types of electricity. I think as a culture, we've only like utilized one of them, and there's like different types of electricity and more ones we feel on the etheric plane, which, when I do the qigong and people do yogic practices, it's all there, right? And when it's cut off, you take some medication and you get the anesthesia there, well, then now you feel the absence of it too, right? But yeah, so when I think of the Mitchell Hedges skull, it's that clarity. It's like I feel like there's something about that super, super clear. And sometimes I feel like my skull, when I'm meditating or doing healing sounds, it also is a crystalline structure. The bone of the actual skull can vibrate. So it's just a fascinating tool. So perhaps you can share, like, how do you connect with the skulls? Or I understand you have some kind of, you have a few of these fellows too, right? This one's actually real crystal, right? And you have a couple ones too. So maybe you can talk about how do you use these tools in your life, and how does it come in as a help?
Yeah, sometimes it just when they come up, and then I try to, basically it's if they came up in your psyche and your inner vision, because you have to create that frequency yourself. But something that Bill told me is that those cults, sometimes the 13, are not so far away from the people. They're just there looking at you. They're looking, but you will never see them until you match that frequency. And then one day you have that frequency shift for a reason and you perceive them. But it was already there, you see, with you. It kind of it's following your life, but it's not always present to see it. And you don't need the skull to do meditation. If you have some, it's perfect. What I do lately is just imagine, like we talked, my brain, my skull become very crystal and pure. And you see that skull, when you see the inside of it, it's got like a prism, like a ego structure inside that mitral edge. And if you shoot light in it, it just project like the third eye. It's amazing. How can you do that, And we learned from a different channel information that was created by sound and chant and stuff like that. That's just amazing. But basically what I'm doing, I'm just relaxing. And lately, maybe we can do a meditation after that about exactly the way they came to me lately. But usually it was just like that, to fall in that state and to allow it to be here like a friend's. Not to control anything, but to allow that energy like a laser to connect with your brain and to allow it, the shift to occur, you see, just by relaxing. Like you have a friend on the side of you and you talk to him very, very gentle. And both of you raise the frequency at the same time. But lately, it's like, it's very important, they said, to connect with your blood, with the electricity in the blood. And I found something that I will give you a picture after that Bill told me, and I found it, and I see it in the meditation. They found a crystal sphere. It's very clear. And inside of it, it's like 3 pyramids. They found that in the water in Bimini. And when they put that sphere under the mitral edge, the skull changed color. Like the sphere become gold and the skull become white. And when he was talking about me, I have the same feeling, and I start to do that with the meditation. You see, to bring that fear within my chakra energy and to see my brain just to change color with the exchanging of the energy. It's very fascinating. And I did a meditation. I designed a meditation with that. And you see the current electric is just fascinating, Tom. We can do something separate about that. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'm gonna say it just to follow with your own creativity the way it came to you. You see, if you want to put them there and watch them, if you want to go in the forest with them, because I have friends who bring their skull to nature close to the river and they sit down there, they make fire, and they kind of a spirit friend with them. You see?
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of ways. One way I've heard of and played with a little bit is actually like, you can look at the skull, but then you can also just kind of imagine the skull turns around and just kind of superimposes itself on your, like occupying the same space as your head. So your skull becomes the crystal skull, and that can
Yeah,
be fantastic way to play with it as well. I know
that's a very good one. That's a very good one.
something I really resonate with that you said is like, you cannot perceive what you're not the vibration of. Like obviously Bashar said that and Seth and every bunch of other channels, right? But the idea that the skulls are always there, and just like spirits are always there, and nature spirits, and ancestors, it's all here and now. But you have to become that frequency, right, to match that. And I know when Raven was channeling and we're talking about the 13 hybrid skulls, I could really see this one. It looked like the Mitchell hedges, but had like this purpley green energy around it, and it felt like it was one of the hybrid ones, but it was there. And then it's just like, oh well, there it is, right? As she was channeling, I could see it, but then day to day, it's just like, I'm not thinking about it. Obviously it's still there, but I'm not in that frequency, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, no, exactly. And it came when it's supposed to come, I guess. Like, this
exactly,
is not something like, I guess, we're supposed to be 24 into it. They came to reflect something that we can use and you move on in your life with that frequency. Like a friend, sometimes you're a friend a few hours, a few days, and after that, you just go on your side. He's going your side until the next meeting. Sometimes it's like that.
totally.
And it's quite fascinating how many people text me about the Raven hybrids cult, about the purple and gold. How many people message me that they connect with that one, you see? And I've said, okay, that's pretty cool. It's fun to know that. And with that meditation, with the sphere, your brain actually change color. Like it's probably our own hybrid brain has changed the frequency. I'm not sure of it, but it's something you can do and learn. But it's look like the blood, when you connect with the blood inside your body and you really feel it, it's warm, have iron into it. And the blood is very connected with DNA. Like you can ask your DNA to show it to you, that connection that they have with the blood, you see? And it's a big package. I tell you, it's a big package that really, really shift your set of mind.
Yeah, that's so when you're speaking, it reminds me of something we say in Chinese medicine that blood is the residence of the Shen or the spirit, right? And this is why acupuncturists they'll read a lot through the pulse. It's just because it's the blood is the residence of the spirit, right? So it's just fascinating, like I love the Qigong arts and meditating on different aspects of the body consciousness. But I think it's also super interesting, very peculiar to me that gold and purple, I think, is what Raven was saying and what other people are connecting to. But I keep seeing green and purple, right? The skull that I saw when she was channeling. So it's interesting, right? Maybe I'm tapping into one of the other 13 ones than the ones that she was talking about. Yeah, it's a mystery. I think part of the skulls is just get into the mystery of it. It's the fact that we don't know. And there's so many blanks for us to fill in, and just enjoying that mystery because we're discovering more of ourselves through the discovery of these magical tools.
Yeah, I know, and I heard some place. I'm not 100% sure, but the master one under the water apparently is still with the triangular, the Bermuda. I think is a purple one. I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting.
That will
Interesting.
be something to know in the future. Like the gold, the mix with the gold, the grid, the Christ consciousness around the planet. They said it's a gold energy. And when I was teaching the heart Merkaba activation, that Merkaba was gold as well. You see. Again, the gold frequency, maybe it's the four densities, something just just higher than the third density. It's that purity, the purity of the gold, the frequency. See?
Yeah, there's something about that. And here's another connection, right? It's like that's what the Anunnaki were using to help save their planet, putting gold in the atmosphere, right?
It's kind of interesting when you think about it, you see? Why the
Oh,
Christ consciousness is gold. They left something there just to for us to tap in that thing and really wake up in a different way, you see? It's possible. And maybe purple, it's a little bit higher than, I don't know, clear. I don't know. I don't know. It's probably a specific reason for.
yeah. But yeah, as you're speaking about Christ consciousness on the grid, it's like I can literally just see it in my mind's eye. Just this, it's that I forget the sacred geometrical shape we talked about. It's not dodecahedron, or maybe it is. I don't remember, but
It looked
it's
like a star, though, they created. It's like a Merkaba star, tetrahedron, but you finish all the corner with that to create a sphere.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you look like that.
I'll put a picture of that in the video.
And this
But
is something that I invite people when you're really ground outside that grid. It's not so far away. It's probably 100 miles, something like that. You can really see it. Like Raven's talking about magnetic field, the magnetite in the brain, just to help you to realize it's there. But it's not so far to connect with that. And this is just amazing experience with nature.
absolutely, and it reminds me of that meditation that Raven brought in, right? Connecting to that grid, and something we enjoy meditating on and talking about, you and I, is the intelligence of the field, right? It's just like resting in the intelligence that carries us, plugging into that and letting that, it's like riding on a surfboard, right? It's like letting the wave carry you instead of you, trying to like paddle and do everything yourself. It's like, no, just surrender and ride the wave, right? So when you plug into that grid, it just feels like that momentum carries us forward instead of like, oh, I have to put it all together and make it all happen and push and force and all that and figure it out, right? It's like, oh, it's something I need to figure out. Like, no, you can tap into the intelligence that's already there and guiding everything.
It is so true. And I mean, anytime she said, about those little contraction and expansion, he said, when you realize you do that, you're shifting yourself all the time. And when you really understand that intelligent will support you, more you have fun with it, more you realize it's intelligent, it's there with you, more it will do the same to you, you see? And you can start to have a different interaction with that field. This is why I was going to do a week class, 20 minutes every day about chakra. And I realized when you really understand that field, that intelligent, and you allow yourself to play with that, and with the skull or without the skull, all the nervous system, the chakra, are just open normal. You don't have too much to do. And when you move action, you do something you like, everything is online, basically. Everything in a second.
Yeah, well, that's why the formula from Bashar is just
It
cuts.
is. Done. I have a machine to see the aura like 10 years ago. You see all the chakra, it was from and back and all the color. And it took me a while when I have that machine because people was using the machine. And every time I start to realize when I put like, what is the name of your dog or whatever you like in life, the second they said that, all the chakra just changed in a second. And I was like, it doesn't take too much work to make those chakra open. You see? And I realized, oh my God, in fact, we are in a time that ancient tool to heal are just doesn't need it anymore. It's become lighter, it's become different. We've become aware of that system, just get online pretty quick. This is just amazing.
Yeah, as you're saying that, I'm just realizing how easy it is. Like, if I think of the dog, it's just like, oh, you just light up. Or when I think about that negative story that I keep telling myself and that I seem to like kind of enjoy chewing on, right? To use the dog metaphor, right? It's like, oh, let me run that story through my mind one more time. It's like, oh, my chakras are blocked. Oh, what's going on? And it's just, you're right. It's so much easier. Even though like we are here for process and we honor the process, but the shift is like, it's like Bashar says, it's the shift. When the shift happens, it's instantaneous, right? And
It is so
whatever
true, and it's still true that it was like a big, we've been to the chakra for an hour and Reiki, and it's always good. But now it's looked like I said, and I saw many, many times with the machine, it was just like, hey, man, in a second, that person is just bang online in a second, you see?
Yeah, totally. It's almost funny, like it's like the cosmic humor of how simple it is and yet how drawn out. It's like we wanna, we have these sayings in our culture, no pain, no gain, right? And it's like we kind of glorify the struggle. Oh, I really had to work for it. And then you see
No
some of
pain,
these,
no gain. This is so true, so true.
and you see
But
some of these
things
kids.
change. You see things change and people are changing. This is wonderful. It's a different game. It's a different way to, but like Raven said, if you understand that field, that you live in a spirit that feels intelligent, if you play with it, it will play with you. It will support you in a way that you can't imagine it, you see, if you flow with it.
Absolutely. Like the metaphor that always comes to me is the surfer and the surfboard, right? It's just like, yeah, it's work, but it's fun work to be in the balance of riding the wave, riding those currents. And the wave, it carries you. It does most of the quote unquote work. You just got to like balance it and ride it. You know what I mean? So that's that field, that intelligence, that it's always there.
Yeah, like imagine that elite legend with the skull, pure crystal, like it's awesome. You know, it is what it is, but it's amazing. But the time I have off from the surgery, I expand and learn something else.
Yeah.
It's just something new for me, a different point of view, a different me, and this is fascinating. Like I will say, everything happened to you is for a reason. If you really enjoy it, then take the time to go to the step. Don't run away from it. You will learn many things. You will learn many things. And again, you see how important the body has to be clear the best you can with toxin, because all the circuit, you're in Qigong master, all the circuit, the energy, the nervous system get affect with that.
Yeah, everything has an effect. And yet, at the same time, I also know that we're not here to just be ultra super pure and like, he's like, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that and it has to be this, right? Letting that go too, right? And then just being in the world and of the world, but at the same time being in the pure and the high vibration. And it's both, right? It's not avoidance. It's, choices, conscious choices, but it's not like, oh, I'll never have that because, oh, I'm afraid of what it's going to. There's times when it's like when you're riding that current of joy and passion and you celebrate, that's what matters. It's not necessarily, it's the energy with which you do everything, right? And it's not always the thing that matters, but the reason why you're drawn to a certain thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's very important to go, to move on, not be afraid of it, you see. That's interesting. Like that was pretty much the topic today about that skull came to me and it helped me to realize many things like many people. And I know many people are drawn to those things. It's beautiful. They have 13, they're reflecting the first, the second, the third, they're all reflecting something different. I know the seven one is nature, reflection of nature. The one it's like sexuality. And again, the male and female, what that mean. We talk about that. The female energy is kicking in. Doesn't mean like it's all the females gonna do the work. It's a balance as a male and female. In us as a male and in the female as well, you see?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
And
it's
that's the way we grow up and we expand. I think it's the thing changed, the tool changed, the way to realize how to balance ourselves. And we have so much different tool that just amazing.
Yeah, we really do live in an age of fantastic abundance of teachings and wisdom teachings and connection to so many traditions at our fingertips. It's fantastic, right? We talked about in another episode how the physical internet, which gives us connection to, all this different knowledge, is a reflection of that etheric internet, if you will. The etheric grid that you talked about, that consciousness of light that we also can tap into, right? So it's not always like, oh, let me pull out my device and search for the information. It's, well, let me connect, through whatever tool, whether it's through the skulls or through whatnot, breathing techniques, qigong, yoga, right? Connecting to that grid and then getting the downloads. It's all there. It's all just ready. That information, it's all here and now. What sometimes people refer to as the Akashic records is how we connect to that grid of infinite intelligence that we are a part of. So hopefully this inspires, all of us to just plug in more often and, put the mind down. The mind is a beautiful tool too, but sometimes the mind, It's designed for certain things, but it's not designed for unraveling every single thing, like mystery or secret, right? It's tapping into that bigger intelligence that we're a part of too.
Yeah, how many masters said the heart and the mind, what looked like the reflection of the skull make the mind more vibrating in its pure form, to receive whatever the heart sent there without putting filter in it. We talk about the intelligent field. When you understand that field as intelligent, how many times I connect with the leaf, with the wind, the leaf was moving and I have a story with that leaf. Same thing with a tomato, a vegetable. In fact, when you start to play with that, they will play with you. It could be many things, but everything is a consciousness reflection in your life. Like everything is alive in some form. Like you can have different connection with them. Like different actor, we are different actor from time to time. But who's the true actor from spirit? This is what sometimes it's not easy to find, but with those experiences, you can see what feel good for you, what feel true.
Yeah, it's finding those permission slips. For me, it's watching the leaves falling on the wind, which there's plenty of now in the autumn, right? It's just, you see this leaf just falling, just floating through the wind. And all of a sudden, it's like, I'm totally connected to infinite intelligence. And it's instant, right? It's not like, oh, I got to do 30 minutes of meditation and I'm going to get really serious and do this. It's like, boom, just the gateways are always there, right?
Yeah, and it's just a leaf, but you see the pattern of this, just bring it within yourself, your mind, with your field. It's just like, this is a miracle, man. When you just watch the leaf coming down, it can bring you so connecting with different story on that grid or whatever it is, the ground, whatever. It's a magic. It's a magic thing.
The paradox is stepping out of the mind that's been trained to think it needs to figure everything out, and just, putting that story down for a little bit, go outside, looking at the sky, take some deep breaths and just get out of that story's still going to be there. It's like you can even love the story and honor it and actually be willing to set it down for a bit and just let your mind be clear for a moment and connect to that grid and just be that presence, right? Because that's you too.
Yeah.
Your whole identity is not caught up in that story, right? And one day you'll realize that you don't need to pick that one up anymore, right? It's like it's still there. It's valid. It's a valid reality. But hey, let's do something else for now. Let's enjoy, like, just
Yeah,
presence.
exactly. I'm gonna say something. For the last two days, I can see, because we talk about that field of intelligence. I see a pulsation in the reality. Like everything become like not as solid as it used to. And someone said we have a big shift in November 5th, and I think the solstice is coming in December. That will be another shift. Like I will invite just to ask the sculpt if you are interesting to have some guidance from him and see what way it's gonna help you to realize something that you need to realize in those moments. But they have a pulse right now. We're changing frequency. Many people might see it. Many people say maybe sense it for different reason. But it's a beautiful thing. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, do you have any final, stories to share or tidbits about the skulls before we close everything out?
I'm gonna say I'm pretty done today with this, but I'm sure more will come, and I will be very happy to come back with that meditation when it's very clear.
Awesome. Well, let's call it a day then. And may this episode, like every other episode, may it inspire all the viewers out there, all of us co-creating these realities together, to really connect to more of our true natural selves, to connect to that etheric grid, the Christ consciousness, if you will, as to use your words, that golden grid that surrounds the planet. It's always there. May this serve to uplift us all. And we will see you in the next episode.